Germany is certainly a team that we are very mindful of because of what they do, and I think they have probably the most potential. Like I think they're a little untapped in some ways when I have a look at what they could become.
As a team or different individual star talent players?
I think they've got an immense amount of star players in their side. Players that I'd be very happy to work with. You know, they're blessed with some speed and skill and things like that.
The Euro Hockey Daily podcast is brought to you by XPS. Plan, prepare, perform and win with XPS by SidelineSports.com, the essential software platform for hockey coaches all over the world. Not just for coaches here at the European Championship, but for all ambitious coaches eager to improve every day. A must-have tool for clubs who want to track the development of their homegrown talents. For more info, check out xps.promo/hockey. Welcome to the Euro Hockey Daily.
Hello, we're together here with Shane McLeod in the hotel lobby for just before the start of the European Cup here. Shane, originally from New Zealand, but well rooted, I can say, here in Belgium with a Belgian wife and a lot of Belgian hockey life as well. How do you manage a year where your players have so many moments to peak? Because this year only we had, within a span of 12 months we had a World Cup, we had a Pro League, we had club competition, we had EHL, we have the European Championships this week. Probably or not, we'll see, we'll have an Olympic qualifier maybe this year. How well do you manage, or do your players manage, such a year with so many peak moments?
Yes, becoming one of the difficulties of the modern hockey player and trying to put together national teams, because of exactly what you said. The requirements on players is growing all the time, and the importance of each game tends to grow with that. What we try and do is we try and set certain pinnacle events. So, for example, the World Cup is an obvious pinnacle event. The Olympic Games is an obvious one, and the Europeans to a certain degree is another one. Probably it sits quite high up there, especially because it's a tournament that Belgium have never won before, and more importantly, from my perspective, it's a ticket to the Olympic Games that allows you to control your program over the next little while, and it removes one of those other peaking moments that you possibly get forced into having. So, you know, we talk to the players about the Pro League in a certain way. So we tried to get a balance between development and performance, and sometimes we fell short in the performance area because we were high in development, and sometimes we fell short in the development area because we were looking too closely at a performance. So, you know, it's just a different way of managing teams now, but becoming ever more increasingly difficult to do that.
Yeah. How well is your cooperation with in Belgium? We know the club systems, also very important for these players because that is where they make their money essentially. How well do you manage the balance between the club and the national team?
Yeah, I think we do really well, and I say really well because it's almost an impossibility to have that perfect combination. I think both parties are working for a common good of the player, but also the national team has the national program and things that we must do very well for, and the club also needs those players to enrich their club. So, you know, they think of it not just about their player and their first team, it's also what their first team brings to their club. And so you've got these two parties that are aligned but have slightly different priorities. And so, you know, it's important that we discuss a lot with the clubs, and where we're quite lucky in Belgium, I think, is the relationship is not broken. It's not always aligned, because I think clubs would like them more, and I fully understand that. And I think at times we would like them more, and I think they fully understand that. But a really good example is changing the competition because of the Pro League. Now, that's quite innovative because I know it comes at a bit of a cost for the clubs. And I appreciate that a great deal. And so part of why I'm quite keen for us to get an Olympic ticket is I'm quite keen for our players to give back to the clubs straight after the Europeans and have
without having the interruption of the Olympic qualifier.
That's right. For that reason, build up some credits because I think the clubs are very deserving of having their players as much as we can allow them to have.
Yeah. What would you consider the benefits or the advantage and the disadvantage of having a central system like, for example, the Australians or the Indians towards this mixed system with the club and international?
I see.
I'm asking, as a national coach, which one would you prefer and why?
Well, I don't underestimate what the domestic competition brings. So where are these players coming from? And a lot of it is coming from a really strong club based. And one of the things, if I put a list of why Belgium is doing well and why Holland is doing well, up at the very close to the top of that list is the domestic competition challenges the players week in, week out, and if you don't have that, you have to try and supply that in another way. And Australia do it a little bit because they centralise their program, and the Perth club competition is actually quite a good competition. It's much better than probably the other states, especially in the Olympic
because of that reason.
Because of that reason. So they try and make a false competition, and so we don't need to do that. So, I wouldn't change our competition. I think the guys, when it's full on in the club competition, I know they enjoy coming to the club trainings because it's something different, a variety, and so on. And vice versa, when we're in a heavy moment, I know they love going back to the clubs because it's a chance where they can operate on a high level because of everything they've been doing, but they enjoy it. It's just a break. So I think it's a perfect marriage
between the both.
Between the two.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The time that you spent in New Zealand, in your home country, coaching your national teams, can you tell me how is that club level there? Is there also the mix between clubs and national teams the same way we experienced it here?
It's probably a little bit more Australian style in a way, but they have the geographic difficulty of it's a very long country and not easy to get players together. So you have to either have a centralised program which has players coming in, leaving their hometowns, leaving their support networks, trying to find work in and around the hockey trainings, and so you end up doing a lot of trainings at 6:30 in the morning, or a double session where you have a late training at night. And probably what I've recognised is how incredibly well New Zealand have done, because it's difficult, and how much they fight above their weight. When I look at the ease in which we can bring players together, how regular we have them in training. Whether it's
the advantage of a smaller country.
It's incredible. Like, I actually think Belgium is the perfect storm in regards to it's got a very competitive domestic competition. It neighbours Holland and Germany, so you've got international competition of the highest level all the time. You have players that go play in Holland that takes away the mystique of that used to be there with Holland.
The magical major
right.
players.
That's right. And if I rang the players, within an hour I could have a training session going. They wouldn't be happy about turning up and such little notice, but it could happen, and that's incredible. And that I don't see why that should stop. I think it's a big part of what's brought the country to the state it is, and I think it's going to be a big part of how it will continue in the future.
Continue to grow. Okay. Going back to the European Championships here, who do you think will be in the finals and why?
Well, I think there are some big players.
Yeah.
Like I think if I have a look at both pools, I think our pool is a harder pool, and that you have Spain, England, and Belgium. So you've kind of got 3 for 2 of players that are worthy of playing a semi-final. And I think on the other pool, it's
So you consider Ireland is not as strong as?
Oh, I think they will cause some problems. They can easily cause some problems. But they're in the other pool, so Wales isn't our one. So I'd like to think we could take care of Wales, mainly because I don't think they have a big enough program. And on the other side, you've got I think it's a little clearer, but again, Ireland can cause problems there. But I think Holland and Germany are probably the standout two in that side. So I think they'll go through to the semi-final. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think there are some interesting games in ours. So our game against Spain, ours against England, and in particular, I think the England-Spain game is
be an important one for the pool.
Yeah, I think so. Or I'd like to think so. Yeah, and then if you look at for Belgium to go through, if they make the semis, I think you're probably going to have to win 2 finals. I think you're going to have to take on the likes of a Holland or a Germany, and then if you're successful, take on probably the other one. I think there's a little bit of a gap between those three, the 3 teams I'm talking about, and the rest. But England were 4th at the World Cup. They were 4th in the Pro League, so they know how to get results in key moments.
But is there an advantage to playing a very strong opponent in the semi-finals before going into the finals?
Yeah, I think that does prepare you well, for sure. But I also think that the other semi will be a closer affair than people might originally think. What I think is a very interesting competition is Holland-Germany in the pool game. I think that's quite a massive game, because I think Holland have some very talented players, but I also think that Germany are making some quiet steps.
They're building towards Tokyo.
Yeah, they are. They're certainly doing that, and I see them a bit more serious. We played them a couple of times, and they applied themselves pretty well to those games. Yeah, so I think that they've come to this tournament to make some steps, and so I think Holland need to be mindful of that. And I think that's always a great game. Anyhow, we saw it at the World Cup with Germany getting over Holland in that game, the pool game there. So
no, absolutely. So, but out of those 3 or maybe 4, who will make the finals and win?
Finals and win. We're talking about really fine details here, and it's a bounce of the ball or a corner that goes in or a corner saved. But there's a part of me that would hope that it's Belgium-Holland, because I think that's going to be
rematch.
Yeah, it's a rematch, and that's kind of what's starting to develop in our sport is this.
You need this derby feelings.
Yeah, that's right, and it's. For me, it's a great contest. I look at their team with quite a lot of respect and admiration for some of the players that they have playing there and so on. And I know our guys enjoy the challenge of playing them, and it's always quite a tactical battle, and you always see some of the world's best players on display. And I think that would be a nice one, because it's a repeat of the last Euros, but just
also the repeat of the World Cup final.
Yeah, that's right. And so I think that would be a nice one for the tournament. But but maybe we meet in the quarters, in the
semis already. You never know what happened. Okay, if you look beyond already, because everybody's looking forward to and enjoying already the European Cup here, but the main event is the one next year, Tokyo, and we all try to qualify for that one through this one. But who do you think will be a surprise in Tokyo, and why?
A surprise.
Could this be Germany, for instance?
Yeah, look, I think a surprise for where they get to in the end. I think Germany is certainly a team that we are very mindful of because of what they do, and I think they have probably the most potential. Like I think they're a little untapped in some ways when I have a look at what they could become.
As a team or different individual star talent players?
I think they've got an immense amount of star players in their side. Players that I'd be very happy to work with. You know, they're blessed with some speed and skill and things like that. But I think they collectively have to go to another level, and collectively have to commit to a massive Olympic program if they want to make enough steps to.
Which also has always been the strength of Germany.
Yeah, it has. But I think it's becoming harder and harder to do the approach that they have done in the past. So I think programs have moved on. So
you need to invest more time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it all comes down to time and how you use that time. But like, what's an example? You know, an example of them was they would often start a tournament poorly because of they'd build their way into the tournament. Now if you start poorly, you're in trouble because you're right behind it. And they had players like Hulker and
first back in the decades.
Yeah, that's right. That really suit how they went, and they became monsters by the end of the tournament, but very beatable at the start. It's like giving someone a head start and then catching them, but the problem is people are getting faster, and so they're becoming harder to catch. So I think that they have to be careful how they go about their business, but if they did a good job, I'd see them right up there. I think there's going to be some prizes in the qualifying, not too many, but I think a team like France could
very well surprise a bigger
problems.
one.
And some of those matchups, there could easily be a couple of good teams that are not going to be there. It's a team that I wouldn't want to play.
No, I can imagine.
So I think it's going to be an interesting time, and I'd love to watch those games and enjoy the suspense of them
instead of preparing the one yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, Shane. Thanks very much for your time. We wish you all the best during this European Championships, and I agree with you. I hope also for a Dutch-Belgian final.
Cool.
Thanks, Shane. Bye bye.
Pleasure.
Here together with Maddie Hinch, just played the opening game for the European Championships against Ireland. Happy with your game? 1-1.
We're happy. Do you know what? Every time we play like an Ireland or a Scotland or a Wales, it's always tight. You could probably feel it, not even being on the pitch. It's always tight. We knew today would be the same. We were never going to win 6-0. It was going to be really close all the way, and that's exactly what happened. So when they pulled a goal back, it was like, here we go. But
that's not as bad. It's an Olympic champion versus the vice champion of the world. So it's a good game.
It's not bad. Exactly. Both teams have had their moments, even though both teams are quite different, but at the same time we're just really happy that we got the win in the end, because I think in the Pro League we've shown a little bit of naivety in terms of maybe throwing away results and big scorelines against us, whereas today we just won ugly, and sometimes you just need to do that, forget the scoreline, let's just get the win, and that sets us up nicely, because the first game is always very nerve-wracking and we have a lot of youngsters.
So it's a good start.
Good start, yeah.
Good start. What are your team goals and your individual goals for this European Championship?
Team goal is just one game at a time. You know, we. I know it sounds very cliche, and probably everyone is saying that, but it really is for us. We're building as a team under a new coach, and we just want to see progression in our game. The Europeans is an incredibly tough one to win, but at the same time, we've done it before. So we're really excited by the prospect. There's a huge, obviously, prize on the end of it for the winner,
Tokyo
which would be nice,
is on the horizon.
But at the same time, if that's not something we achieve, we're building towards what is then an incredibly important few months after that. So we can't get too focused. It's more about what we're doing and how we're playing. And I think today we showed a step up as a team to win kind of ugly, like I said before, whereas I think a few months ago we wouldn't have done that.
Okay. Has your time away changed anything in the way that you prepare for these games now with back with England?
Nothing has changed in the way I prepare. I think I'm just a lot happier than I was a year ago. I think I was very tired. I was a little fed up maybe with playing, very easily frustrated, and now I'm a little maybe more relaxed, I think. Maybe.
You're going to miss the Holland?
Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Think of returning after?
It's definitely not a no for me. I think I'm probably done with Stickser because I think it's important that they get a consistent.
And you won then for a couple of years now.
But I see myself being there definitely. So yeah, it's something that I'm definitely thinking about maybe after Japan.
Has your couple of years in Holland made you a better goalie, you think?
I definitely think it's added to my game. It's now a case of me just bringing that all together, and I'm still believing that is coming. I don't think I'm at my best yet, but it's like not forcing that to happen right now. I think there's extra things that I had under Martijn and with Stickser, and the girls hit the ball very hard there, so all of a sudden it feels quite nice here.
Feel a little bit more at ease now.
Yeah, a little bit more at ease, yeah.
Okay, good. Why did you start playing hockey and why did you become a goalie?
I was actually playing rounders at school, and I didn't know about what hockey was, and my PE coach at the time said to me, okay, you dive around a lot in rounders trying to catch the ball, so you should be a goalie. Okay. I was like, really? I'm not sure I want to wear all that stuff.
All that stuff, and smelly, and you're standing still.
I liked running, I liked scoring goals and stuff, so they put me in, and that's how it happened.
And it clicked.
It did, yeah. It's an unusual position. You have to like the pressure. You have to enjoy, like today, I was a bit like, go on, have another go. Yeah. And that's the games you want to play in.
Absolutely. So at the end of the game, it was a key moment for you.
Yeah, but you feel that energy, and for me it just makes me want to make a save, whereas I think sometimes in those moments you can fear the next action, where I was a bit like, what's the worst case scenario? They score, no one's going to die. It's okay. And I think that's where the break has allowed me to think much clearer these days and not put so much pressure on myself. I found myself after Rio trying so hard to be very good all the time, and it was so tiring. I'm human, I get it wrong a lot, and so
still everybody needs to have fun during the game
and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get back to enjoying playing, and I'm certainly doing that now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks very much for your time.
No worries.
Mink van der Weerden, directly after the game against the Germans, a 3-2 win. Was a very tough game. What were your impressions?
I think indeed it was a very, very tough and very tight game. But I think we did well. They press in a certain way which takes a bit of hockey out of us. And I think we found our ways around it, and I think we did. In the end we did well, and it's a big game, and it's good that it's close.
Thanks for listening. Join us again tomorrow for a new episode of the Euro Hockey Daily on your Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or at studiohockey.com. Enjoy your hockey. Bye bye. PS. Monday is Ladies' Day. At 1:30, Germany plays England. Followed at 4:45, Ireland versus Belarus. At 6 o'clock, the mighty Dutch play Spain. At 8:30, home team Belgium faces Russia. Enjoy your hockey!